Welcome to your weekly airplane news update. This is the week of November 29th. We're going to talk about flying Hi folks, welcome to the end of the year. And what we're going to do in this episode is we're going to recap everything we talked about in 2021. And there was quite a few things. This is actually almost our first year anniversary with the airplane news update. But we're going to talk about all the cool new aircraft we talked about. We'll talk about the new tech, some notable accidents. Unfortunately, these happen every year. We'll talk about how to not be that guy, the don't be that guy episode, or as I like to call it, some guy in Florida doing stupid stuff. And then lastly, we'll talk about some new regulation and a couple other things. So let's get to it. All right, well, it's been a busy year. And it's been a busy year on multiple fronts. And we actually, on this news update, this is going to be almost 1 year since we started. But I wanted to do a quick recap of everything that we've seen, and starting with new aircraft. We saw a lot of new aircraft in 2021. The first one being the Pipistrel electric airplane. We talked about this a couple times. We talked about FIT getting one, my alma mater, and flying it to help students understand how electric airplanes fly. We had news from Joby Aviation. Joby is a VTOL, electric VTOL aircraft, and they just recently got their aircraft approved to be flying in the U.S. So that's kind of exciting. We talked about hydrogen engines. We talked about another electric aircraft manufacturer in the U.S., By Aerospace, with their E-Flyer. We talked about new French aircraft, Dassault Falcon 10X, the Diamond as well, Diamond DA50 coming into the US. And we had another eVTOL with the Blackfly eVTOL. And then a new type of citations, a bunch of new citations coming out. And then finally, the Archer eVTOL. So the news for all these new aircraft was really mixed between eVTOL and new aircraft, and especially electric airplane as well. The next thing was a bunch of cool new tech, and the first one being the Garmin Emergency Autoland. That was actually, for me, one of the almost most impressive, most useful piece of gear that we saw this year, where you can, at the touch of a button, essentially automatically land the aircraft. I think this is from a safety standpoint, from somebody who's maybe flying with passengers on a small aircraft and wanting to land in case they have an issue, then this is going to be a lifesaver, I think. We talked about the Avidyne Vantage. We talked about the Garmin Smart Glide. And then we talk about the Becker or the Iris, the See and Avoid system. So that was really cool stuff. We also had some notable accidents, unfortunately, just like it is always in aviation. The first one being in February last year, Kobe Bryant. Obviously, that was something that a lot of people talked about. C501 crash, which was the aircraft that took the life of 7 people in Tennessee from the Remnant Church higher ups, I would say. We also had a Transair 737 that ditched in Hawaii. We talked about how they went to get the aircraft down at the bottom of the ocean. And we had the MD-87 that crashed in Houston at the end of the runway. Now, not all of these were fatal. Some of them were, but just very notable, I think, accidents. Then we had what I call the Don't Be That Guy, or the Florida Man segment, where we talked about people doing stupid stuff. And unfortunately, that happens. We had people throwing lasers at aircraft. We talked about that last week. Somebody get convicted and is probably going to spend some time in jail. We had a lot of unruly passengers. Thankfully, it's not something that we've been hearing a whole lot in the last couple of months. So hopefully that has slowed down a little bit. We talked about Casa Grande in Arizona here that was kind of playing with people in their second airport, which was really a phantom airport. They didn't want people to be tenants at the airport, so they created this fake second airport, and they're sending them there to do operation, which was not cool. We talked about people making fake bonk threats. We had a Florida man trying to steal a C-130. We had a guy crashing 7 times in 7 days in that Sea-Wind aircraft. We had an R-44 pilots trying to land at a Dairy Queen. And then we had people doing a scam with lost luggage. And then lastly, which happened this week, this is kind of a new piece of information. We had this YouTuber who crashed what looks like his airplane on purpose. And he parachute jumped. I'm not going to give him more visibility than he needs to have because I think this was something that was absolutely idiotic and could have actually cost somebody's life or even a forest fire. So he's been taking a lot of slack, I think, in the last couple of days from the community as a whole. But the FAA is now actually launching an investigation on this. So we'll be reporting for sure on what happened there starting next year. Then we had some industry news. We had pilot hiring that's starting again after a very flat 2020, and then a pilot shortage, even discussions of pilot shortage at the end of the year. We had the what I call the billionaire space race with Richard Branson trying to get in space before Bezos from Amazon. That was kind of interesting to watch. And then we had cool events. Sun and Fun was back with really good attendance. We also had Oshkosh that was back with pretty good attendance. So then we had charts that are now valid for 56 days instead of 6 months. So that's a major change actually. HIWAS is no more. That's rest in peace for that. And then we had the LODA, the letter of determination from the FAA. And, well, this is kind of an ongoing story. We talked about it last week. This was supposed to be added to a bill and then it got removed. So I don't think there is any relief from people that need a LODA to do flight training. If you want more information on this, I'm not going to really go into the details, but you can go to some of the previous shows and see what we're talking about here. And we had the 5G issue, which I think is still outgoing. As a matter of fact, the FAA this week has released samples of what NOTAMs could look like for 5G issues with the 5G integration, where you can't fly using a certain type of equipment. And then another thing that's still ongoing, which is a 100 low lead ban at an airport in California. And the FAA is now getting involved and they're investigating as well. So these are ongoing stories and we'll talk about them some more, I'm sure, in 2022. And then we had something pretty cool. We haven't actually given you an update on this, but we had this young lady from Europe, from Belgium, that's been flying around the world. And we checked again, and she's in India. When you're watching this, she should be in India, and she's expected to be done by mid-January. So we'll keep you posted. I think she got some delays, but it looks like she's still going with her cool project, I should say. And then we had the Pilot Institute recap of everything that we've done. We've added 4 new employees. We moved to a new place. We moved to a new set. Actually, this is our second set this year. We went from our green screen to a new set to this set now, with a new studio, a much larger location. We have the commercial course. I know I've been promising the commercial course for a while, but as you can expect, this is not a small thing to create, and hundreds and hundreds of hours are going into creating a course, and I want to do it right. So we've been, I'm not going to say we've been taking our time, but we've been spending a lot of time making sure that this looks great, and it's got the most updated information, the most detailed information, everything that you expect from us. So we've been pretty busy this last couple of months on working on that, so I'm expecting early next year we should see a commercial course for airplane. So that's kind of exciting. And then that's pretty much it. That's all we have for this week. As always, like, subscribe. I know you guys have been doing a lot of that. Leave your comments down here. And I always love reading about everything. And Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you for your support year long and getting enrolled in our courses and learning from us. So thanks again, and we'll see you guys next week.